Sorry about that, man. JP,
No worries.
how you doing, man?
Good.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
But anyway, welcome to the podcast with Black Page. And, I think, as I said before, my first question was about the gem, the Midland hidden gem. I think you just brought us to a hidden gem. Look at us, man. I'm sitting in front of a waterfall and say, what do you think of this, man?
Great, tranquility, the sounds of this waterfall.
In case you don't know, Entle is my new friend. She does property tours. She's a severe property tours. She does some of the deepest tours. She took me to a place called Zululami a few weeks ago. But it looked amazing, Polito, Durban. And I think the Midlands can give Durban a run for its money, not because of the way it looks and the expensive, but I feel like we have that mystery. That mystery. And I think you brought me to a hidden gem, which is my first question. So tell me about this hidden gem.
So the place that I brought you, it's called Where the Crow's Nest. And it was it's a strategic decision.
Really?
It's like when you share a hidden gem with you, the best way to show or someone that place is by creating an experience.
Yeah, definitely.
And you can only experience that when you're actually sitting in the middle of the hidden gem that I want to show you.
I feel like I'm in the hidden gem right now.
Exactly. And we're literally like 15-20 minutes away from down the Sadara Road, between Hilton and Howick. And it feels like we're in the middle of the countryside.
Exactly. That's what I said to my friends when we were doing that. We're still in Howick.
And it's nice because it's like, and the name is also very great because it's got a great significance. It's about the family that actually owns this property. Their surname is the Crows, and they started their family, and this wasn't here 7-8 years ago when they started. So they built all of this, and they decided to share that vision that they had for the property with not just the community but the people coming outside of the Midlands. And I think that's one of the things. What makes the Midlands more than just the magic is actually the community and the people. What sets us apart from every other destination. Like we can beat Belito or Durban or any other place, but where we have that strategic advantage is the people and the community that represents the Midlands. We had a previous chat a little earlier about all the various communities that make up the fabric of what Umngeni means. and every single one of them have a vital role to play in what we propose to people that come here. It's nice to have a nice destination or place where you can stay, but if the people that you experience and interact with isn't there, then you can have as many fancy places as you want and experience the routes that you want to create. But the people is key, and that's what our magic is our people in this community.
Definitely. I just met the crows. The guys that actually owned the place, and they were actually very friendly. I was like, wow, I feel like I'm at home a bit. I feel like I'm at home, but now, apart from the place, man, JP. Tell us about JP. Who is JP? And where are you from? Are you originally from the Midlands, or did you find the mystery and you actually fell in love with the Midlands like a lot of people have? And yeah, a bit of a background on JP, man.
So I originate from Gauteng, a little dorpy called Springs in Ekurhuleni in the East Rand. I grew up there most of my life and then went to varsity at Tuks, where I started my 7-year journey of learning how to get a degree.
Learning how to get a degree.
I took being a student very serious, and it took me a while to get where I wanted. I originally started off studying tourism. Then I was convinced that's not going to work. There's no money in tourism. Then I started studying politics. And then I was also convinced, like, what are you going to do in politics? Politics is not really something that you can do.
Yeah.
And then I distinctly remember I had a stern talking to with my dad. It's like, listen, you need to make up your mind on what you're going to do, and this is what you're going to do. And I ended up with a finance degree. And then while I was busy studying, I met a really great friend and a leader in his own right that took me on a journey to Durban. Well, I actually started my own political career. Started as a staff member and then got stuck into council work within eThekwini.
Really?
I represented this little community called The Bluff on the coast, and no one knows where it is. It's a nice little island if you cut it off, which is great. And in that experience, I learned a lot about government, communities, how you engage with one another, and using opportunities that communities represent and what you can do to affect real change. Not just about, a good example is we have this old whaling station there that we got an international accreditation for. And we turned that into a space where we tapped into the history of that community and made it something that people can do something with. Then I decided, for sanity's sake, I got a bit out of politics, and then I moved to the Midlands like 3-4 years ago. And in that whole experience, I tackled Umngeni tourism. From its genesis when it was still called HACTU, the Howick Umngeni Community Tourism Organization. I need to say it very slow because sometimes I can't even remember what it's called.
Actually, I've forgotten.
Yes.
I've never forgotten what it's called.
But it was a bunch of community members that came together and stuck it through for a very long time to create something that I could mold into Umngeni tourism that it is today. It took a lot of where we started with a vision, and that vision morphed into something where we've got an organization and a structure that's led by community members that have a very close relationship with government to make an impact more than just creating tours or creating experiences for people to come here. I moved here, got stuck in with Umngeni tourism, and actually this week we've gotten to a stage now at Umngeni tourism where I handed over the reins as chairmanship to someone else within our committee.
So you're normal.
Yeah. So and the reason for that is that my goal always was for Umngeni tourism to become a central touch point of anything when it comes to tourism related, not just experiences, but what can we do as an impact for the community, and how we can actually affect true human leadership and social entrepreneurship with the actions that we do. And we have reached now a stage where where we've worked together with the team that's put in place to have a proper plan in place, a strategy, implementation plan, policies that we know what our direction is going to be for the next 5 years. And
that's important.
Yeah.
The vision is very important.
And the board has bought into that, and they've put in a lot of effort, and also the stakeholders that we engaged with. And as a leader, you kind of need to know when to step back and let people take responsibility and ownership of the ideas and the vision that you've created. Because it's not just my vision. It started off as my vision, but it was culminated and morphed into things where it was everyone's perspective and input, and where we got to where we are now at the moment. So my role is going to be more of a lead consultant version of knowing everything and anything to do with the Midlands, because that's kind of what I've been doing for the past 3 years.
Yeah, definitely.
And helping the team to implement what they've already been doing. They've got the plan, they've got the vision, and now it's just about implementation and their strategic leadership for what's going forward. And I've got full confidence that they can do that.
You read these questions, eh? Because now you just answered 2 questions. You really, this guy was prepared, eh?
I've got notes here.
Yeah, this guy was prepared, eh? Don't you just love this? Don't you just love it when someone is
I
prepared?
love it.
So do you have any questions
Well
for him?
done.
Do you have any questions for JP, eh?
Yes, actually. So this Midlands, Natal Midlands meander, and you doing tourism here. You are actually the manager of that section. Hey.
So,
Just-
what we mostly do, so Umngeni tourism, it's a good question because people get confused on what our role actually
Yeah,
is.
yes, it is, yeah.
What community tourism, Umngeni tourism is in legislation, and this is the boring part, is that every single government, local, from all the spheres, need to have a community tourism organization that's made up of public and private businesses to represent that sector, and they work with government. So our role as a community tourism organization is to bring people together like the Midlands Meander and Umngeni municipality and stakeholders from other sectors to say, okay, great, this is our vision. How do we bring you all together to move towards the same direction? Because that's always the problem with communities, is that we've got so many people doing so many things and wonderful things.
Yes,
But
exactly.
there's no organization taking the lead to say, okay, great, this is the vision and what we're working towards. There are other organizations in our community that do that. Love Howick being a good example. They reach out to their development and training and looking after the environment. Our role is now to do the same, but for the travel and tourism sector, where we bring these people together so that we all work in tandem with one another, not in these silos to try and figure out what's going on if everyone else is already doing it.
But you're doing the same thing. And it's like, if you could actually get together and do these things.
So your goal is to bring the tourists here into Umngeni.
Absolutely. And
So what's the response? Because I think I've read somewhere it says from this year it has increased by 80% after the COVID. How is that?
so we have seen a remarkable interest in the destination and people coming back again. But it's actually quite very difficult to determine and give you exact numbers. And that's one of the things that Umngeni Tourism is trying to do is that for us to give you that information or make decisions on what's good for the organization or community that we work on, we need to have this information. And at
Numbers
the
are
moment,
very important.
absolutely, because that's how you make decisions. You make decisions based on evidence. And how do you get that evidence? By bringing people on board and stakeholders and all those kind of things. And that's a gap that's currently is a problem. And that's what Umngeni Tourism is trying to do. And what I'm also trying to do on a broader scale, now from a district level and a provincial level. Because it's nice to have stats on how many people come to the province, but that means nothing to me if I live in the Midlands or Umngeni that need to make decisions based on information that's not accurate.
Exactly.
So that's what we're doing now. It's definitely seen an uptick. We've seen more people coming here. It helps that a government also does what they say they're going to do. Fixing potholes and making things look pretty is what tourists want to see.
Exactly.
And it's great to have that partner with them in this process.
Now, tell me, man. I'm from Mpophomeni, and I wanted to ask this question quite early on. Let's just get the elephant out the way, right? And in Mpophomeni, I know for a fact that it's a township, right? And historically, townships were not really planned in like the grand scale of development. But in recent years, we've seen how resilience, and even though through not being, like I said in Zulu, abasnagil.
Okay.
But they don't really pay attention to us, man. But through that resilience, I'm sure you've seen as well how the youth, the older people, the older generation, they have their own little things that they do that are, they could be a huge part of development, but the thing is they haven't really been added or just been paid attention to. So I always have this fear that Howick is a growing tourism destination, right? One of the biggest, you can see it everywhere. I knew that before. When I came back from Joburg, I knew Howick is a huge tourism destination. You can even see it coming from Nottingham Road all the way down to Howick. It's beautiful. And then you go past Howick, over the hill, as my friend calls it, Lee, he's from England. He used to work at FedEx and he just retired and came to live in the Midlands. He says over the hill, basically. Many is over the hill. So every time he goes over the hill, he just sees a huge difference. And his biggest fear is that, or our shared biggest fear, me and Andy's biggest fear, is that we will be seeing a Samson and Alex kind of thing. And I always say that it's also not just up to the government, it's up to us as the community if that'll happen.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that, man? Are we going to be, because Howick is growing, how is Mpophomeni going to catch up?
Absolutely. I think it's one of my keen approaches with Umngeni tourism is that we need to create a corporate culture, like a cultural compass that shows us how to engage as an organization, irrespective of what community you come from. One thing that I had to get used to with Umngeni, they love calling Howick or Hilton or Mpophomeni villages. And that was not something that a big city kid got used to. I was just like, it's a tourism node. But that's what it is. It's these villages that create the fabric of our culture as Umngeni. Irrespective of that is what industry you move into. But if all of us are signed to the same cultural compass to say, listen, I commit myself to collaboration. Irrespective if you're from Mpophomeni, Howick or Hilton, your voice matters. I create that space of respect in Umngeni tourism for you to feel comfortable enough to share your ideas. And I think that's where the biggest gap is at the moment with each one of these villages is that we don't engage with one another enough. And there's no efficient way of collaborating with one another. My vision with Umngeni tourism was always, whatever we do here, every single other CTO in this province, and there's more than 30, 40 of them, need to be able to take what we're doing and do it themselves. I don't want to keep information to ourselves because it stifles the opportunity to learn in creating an innovative environment.
Yeah.
And if you don't create those same opportunities for every single village, like Mpophomeni or Hilton or Notties, then someone is going to be left behind. So it's an organization like Umngeni Tourism's responsibility to say, how can we put everyone on equal footing to say, your voice matters. This is how you can make sure that we hear what you are saying. But then also community members need to start sharing and collaborate with one another. I shared it a bit with you earlier where we've got some of the best security private guards, community members coming together.
Yeah.
And they've got a passion to go to places like Mpophomeni to teach the community how to do the same thing.
Exactly.
Because government and private security companies play a certain role, but community members also need to do that. And I think if we create a space for people to feel that they can be trusted, that they can be dealt with integrity and their diversity and perspective, because it's more than just arbitrary your race that you have, because where you come from, what your experiences are, how old you are, all of those things make the fabric of making sure that everyone moves towards the same direction.
Exactly.
So ultimately, how we can maybe prevent that from doing is ensuring that everyone has an equal opportunity to provide input and be part of the process. Because you have to remember that Umngeni Tourism is a community tourism organization.
Yeah.
Community means every single part of the community. And for people to make an input and provide their decisions in that, is you need to take them along that journey. And that was one of my biggest failings as a leader. is that I just do things.
Yeah.
And I'll think about telling you about what I'm doing a bit later until it's done.
Hey, I also had that problem, man. It's the same thing. Like whenever, sorry to disturb you, but whenever I had like they used to they put me in charge in school. Because my first year I did at DC, they put me in charge of the class. Those RCL, whatever roles that you could put in there. And every time I'd be tasked to do something, I'd do what I'd have to do, and then I'd forget to report to the class that I did it. It's like, I'm done. But then I wouldn't tell them that I did it.
Exactly.
And then like there was one time where they didn't like a certain teacher. I'm like, okay, I'll have to address that with the principal and everybody. And then I went to address that. And 2 weeks later with another teacher, with another lecturer, and I was like, you didn't tell us. I'm like, hey guys, it's done though. There's another lecturer. Sorry, I'm continue, man.
No, it's great. Just remind me what the point was because I forgot now. I'm so intensely listening to you.
Yeah, sorry, man. It was about the whole being a leader and then getting to SVP reporting back to constituents.
And for me, it's a hard lesson to learn because we did a lot of impact assessments and I like data.
Yeah.
I like answers and numbers. So when you tell me I'm doing something wrong, you can prove that.
Number don't lie. The number don't lie.
But it also gave me an opportunity to say is that I built this whole organization, but I forgot to take people along the road a lot more than I did. Because you can come up with the best idea and the best vision, but if the people that are supposed to implement it or to buy into that isn't part of the decision-making process, the input process, then it's just a strategy on a piece of paper.
Yeah, definitely.
And when I developed or redeveloped our business strategy and our policies and stuff, I knew that was a failing of me as a leader. And ultimately, that was a failing of us as an organization as well. So when you relook at our strategy now, is that stakeholder engagement and communication is one of our major priorities.
Definitely.
Because it's the thing that I was the worst at. And it's the thing that's the most important. Because when you share information with people and you share with them that what they are doing is making an impact, irrespective of how small it is or how big it is that they feel part of that community. And that's what we are trying to achieve now. This is that we've got all the fancy plans and the route development and all these things, how we can bring things with the United Nations goals and all these things. But for us, I think in the tourism sector, it's important to make sure that everyone buys into the vision and the culture that you're trying to create. And then the rest of the things falls in place.
Exactly.
How you spend money, how you design things, how you bring tourists in, all of those things are secondary to what kind of fabric of community you're trying to create.
Okay. Yeah, damn, man. Like, see now, I feel like
I'm also learning a lot. I only like property, but now I'm learning about tourism.
Exactly.
So what's the main goal? Like, what's your main goal of this organization? What's your main goal? To bring tourists to come here, to increase your economic growth?
So I think my vision has always been for Umngeni tourism to be a change maker. Is to be an industry leader that other organizations can look up to and say, I want to be like Umngeni tourism and I want to learn how they are doing it. And in that process, we become a better organization. We become better to our communities and our stakeholders and business that we represent. But we are actually at the forefront of driving innovation of different kind of thinking. And one of my most exciting things that we haven't mentioned yet is like artificial intelligence.
I was about to get to that. Let's not get there yet. This is a surprise.
Okay,
Come on.
surprise. Okay.
I want them to like, get to the end of the show. I'll tell them like, yeah, we had a surprise for you.
And then it's just about being like we can all create things that make money, and we can all bring tourists here. That's easy because
So
Umngeni has got
growth.
So Umngeni's got everything from people to attractions to all of those things. But our ultimate goal is to be the opportunity to be an organization that can affect real change by instilling economic growth and dealing with the environment and actually doing investments, things in our communities that will actually make change, and not to just look at you as a leader, but you as a holistic person.
Yeah.
Because who you are is important for us, because the skills that we as an organization or as an industry need to teach you, you need to take that back to your community and teach that to other people in small ways. How you interact with your family, with your children, or your parents, or your friends. That's what we want to do. And then through that, create tourists, bring more tourists here. People get more money and all those kind of
funny things. How you say that. It's improving what we have here so that it attracts all the people from outside. Not just bringing them just for the sake of bringing them. Like the falls. Howick Falls used to be one of the biggest drinking spots, right? I know, I was part of it. I was a bit part of it sometimes.
I'm raising my hand.
I'm not gonna count myself out. You know, we were there. But we've definitely seen a huge improvement, and I was part of the cleaning up as well. Trust me, I found some very weird things there. I'll show the guys some pictures of the stuff that we found and when we were cleaning up with the whole cleanup campaign with the mayor and everybody. But it really showed me that, wow, we need to take care of our area. We need to take care of our like Howick itself, Howick, Mpophomeni, everything. We need to take care of those places because after I did all that cleaning, I was treated to one of the greatest hidden gems. There was a viewing platform, like an old viewing platform. I think I was the only one that actually got to go and see that. I was like, I did the extra mile, went in there, got that huge dump site out of the way. I got some weird stuff, guys. I'll show you, and you will laugh when you see the picture of that thing we found. But after that, I got this great view of how it falls. And I sat there for like 5 minutes and I was like, this is my reward. And I think that's the reward. Having to be in a better space where you can think better, where you can do things, you can invite people to come and see that this is where I'm from and not be embarrassed to show them pamphlets all over the place. That's a bit of a problem as well. So exactly, I mean, like when we see how it falls, there's people might cry, we want to go back to how it falls, but what are you going to bring to the place? Are you going to bring an improvement, or will it be making it worse than like what it was before? So for the people that are watching, guys, how it falls is improving, and I know you're angry at me as well. I was there as well. We were all drinking there, but now it's getting better. So please let it happen. Let it happen. Let how it get better, and let the people that they're actually happy that they're actually going to sell their crafts now. So even that, people are making money now. Guys, consider it. How it falls is getting better. So let's make our community better as well, man. Mpophomeni.
It's quite interesting as I don't know if you've heard of our festival called Light Up Umngeni.
Yes, I do.
Light Up Umngeni started 3 years ago, and we started at Howick Falls.
Yeah.
For specific reasons. One is that we wanted to show the potential of Howick Falls to what it could be. And the journey that you're explaining now was that goal that we had 3 years ago. It's starting to work. And you can now, of your podcast, say go to Howick Falls because it's great.
Yeah, I can actually go and actually do a podcast in Howick Falls and not get robbed.
Exactly. And then the second thing was also to create an opportunity for the guys that were working there after COVID to just get business back and sustain themselves. And show the potential of Howick. After the elections, we had that big sense of hope in the community.
Yeah.
And we've managed to use one small thing like that to turn a place like Howick Falls into a place that people want to go to, where people can make money, where people want to be around and can sit on the rocks and say, listen, this is my reward for working well.
Exactly.
And tourists want to see that. We forget after COVID, because being cooped up in such small places, people want to go and experience places, but they also want to see that the places that they're going to are being taken care of by the people that live there.
Yeah.
Because when I go to a community and I know that this little store buys their produce from a local farmer, I would much rather go to you than buying it from a massive conglomerate.
Why?
Exactly. And that's a whole tourism route and sector and target market that people look for destinations that do
And
that.
I've been to some of the events, man, guys. Like the one, it was the Scottish themed event. It was
Island Gathering.
the Highland
It's
King.
happening next week again.
It is amazing, man. Sorry, I'm not Scottish, but wow, seeing my friends there as well, Scotty and them, and all the guys, it was just felt like, as much as I'm not part of that culture, it just still felt like I was welcome.
Yeah.
Like you're more than welcome to wear a kilt, even though I won't, because I have to go back to the township and explain that in the township. I don't have to explain why I was wearing this kilt in the township. We're not ready for that yet, okay? But we still have to go and actually experience the Highland Games themselves, because that's the culture. I mean, they have kilts, you have to learn. And I'm not going to be someone from the township and be like, okay, now go and learn why so-and-so wears a kilt. It's the tradition, and it's actually, it's nice for air circulation. I don't know. So, but then you had the food as well, man. The food. I actually had for the first time I had cold pies.
Okay.
Which was like a British kind of dish. It was actually kind of like cold pies. Oh wait a minute! It's actually cold pies, warm beers. Now it makes sense.
Do it the inverse.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So tell me about the Midlands market. I want to know that, and then you can go to the AI part.
The Midlands market.
Yeah. And specifically, how do people actually become part of it if they want to be a staller?
Oh, yeah. So the Midlands market was the brainchild of Love Howick.
Yeah.
And they approached Umngeni Tourism when it started to help them out with it. But they've created an idea where they saw that there's potential to showcase what we have to offer here.
Exactly.
We've got so many farmers and artisan food and things that Cape Town or all these other places have, but we've got better. I'm gonna say that by just with a tad of bias.
Yeah, I'm
But-
tired of it, but it's okay.
They saw an opportunity to one showcase what we have to offer here, but also give people a platform to showcase their businesses, but for also for Love Howick to generate income for themselves as well. So it's an initiative that they started where they're trying to move it from location to location on a quarterly basis so that they can showcase different areas as well. So you don't have this one stagnant place the whole time and one business gets from it.
No.
So the idea that they came up with was to create a space where it's just food. No, nothing else. Just a place where you can go stuff your face and drink a lot of wine. And listen to awesome music.
Yeah.
And they've done several now, and they're doing another one in the next few weeks as well. And it's starting to grow. And I think where you've got community members that took that initiative, that's where people like Umngeni are now going to help them to say, okay, great, you've got an awesome idea. What can we do to help?
Yeah.
It's not our idea. It's not our thing that we want to run, but it's something that we see value in and that we want to support you.
Exactly.
And that's the kind of process that we're going into at the moment.
I think that's a perfect example of not just I want to be part of something, but I want to start something, and how can you guys help me out? And this is always like say to people: start something and then go ask for assistance. Don't ask for assistance to start something. Always start and then go ask for it. When you started something and you have something to show for it, have the numbers. I have something viewers. I have this many viewers, and now I can go ask for the help. I can't just be like, I want to start something, help me. Like, yo, bro, everybody needs help.
Umngeni tourism is the exact same thing.
Yeah.
It took me 2 years because I'm very adamant about, I need to show you what I'm going to ask you to invest in.
Exactly.
And it took us 2 years. We had to build a brand. We had to figure out how we're going to communicate with people. What are we actually doing as a community tourism organization? Because government's guidelines is flat, and we can do so much more. And we had to re-envision that. But we had to go and prove to the community that you want to be part of Umngeni tourism. So when you go and speak to people, we've got lots of work still to do, but they can say, okay, great, this is a brand that I trust, that I respect, because they've actually climbed those trees to put up that 50 kilometers of lights last year. And we've done the things to say that we are committed to this project, and we are committed to show you that what we are offering you is something that we trust ourselves. So in showing what you want to give to people is very important, because it just shows that you're serious, and I can trust you as a person to say, listen, we're going to do this.
So how much time is it there now?
29 minutes.
29 minutes. Okay, I don't want to waste too much of your time anymore now. I think we've got 2 more questions and then we're done. But in fact, do you have any more questions?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
She was like waving her hand here the whole time.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
This is out of my comfort zone, but anyway, now I'm getting more and more information and interested. So now I want to come to this Howick. What you think are the attractions, or what do you have already?
Actually, that's one of the questions. That's actually one of the questions that's coming up. Yeah. So after the question, what are some of the attractions that are in Howick?
Yeah. Yes. I want to know what I am.
So there's so many to do. It depends on what you would like to experience. But let's start off with Hilton. There's an awesome little cafe called Pepperay that's just down the Hilton Avenue Road. They're only open during the day, and then once in a month they've got an evening where they've got a speciality dinner for you to go to. You can bring a bunch of friends. You sit in a wine cellar. It's beautiful. Wow. And then even staying in Hilton, when you just go past a new mall that's called Hilton Siding, underneath the bridge, these local artists from Gallery Zaza, from Boomtown Initiatives, who started repaint with Lelo, Jono, and Jax.
Lelo, shout out to you, man.
There we go. Shout out to Lelo. And they've started this massive initiative with painting the bridges and creating a route for people to come and experience, bringing arts and culture together with nature and bringing a story behind the art, not just something to look pretty. So you can go and experience that. That's free. So you can walk around there. It's amazing.
Shout out to Lelo again. Lelo is doing amazing stuff, man. She's actually part of the show. She's done 2 shows with me already. Fantastic. And I'm actually planning to have her as a co-host now, because she's actually very, very good. Good at her job and very, very good at talking. Just talking in general.
And Lelo saved my butt during our official launch from Umngeni Tourism.
Really?
Yeah, because we got these nice signs carved out and they got a bit wonky. Because it wasn't the best word, because a typical way to do something very quick. And then she came in, she spray painted them, made them look boss. You've never seen something like that in your life, and she just smacked that out the park. She's a legend.
Let's give her a round of applause. Let's give Lelo a round of applause, guys.
Other places you can go to if you want to see a really cool waterfall, go to the Kaku waterfall.
Oh yes,
stunning.
And
they've done a lot of nice things there where you can actually do a picnic there. They've got ablution facilities where you sit on open grass. You can go to the Kaku Country Club that manages and looks after the space. And if you feel a bit feisty and you want to do a cycling tour, they can help you with that as well.
Awesome.
Or a bit of walking. Then we can go to, let's go to the Lidgerton area. The Lidgerton, there's an awesome place called Brookdale Hydro. If you like a pampering,
Entle? I know you like a pampering.
Fancy.
I know Entle.
It's so cool.
Entle is a fancy lady. I don't know. She likes. I'm gonna take her out for her birthday.
Please do it. My birthday is around the corner.
There you go. And then if you want to go to a few events, that's actually happening soon.
The Highland Games.
Highland Games is happening next week Wednesday. Then we've got the Hilton Arts Festival happening next weekend well. 3-day extravaganza of arts and culture, bringing society together.
Yeah.
There's so many other places that you can visit too. There's when you go to the Dalgle area, there's this place where you can sip and paint, where you've got these potteries, you can drink a bit of wine and eat a lot of pizza and get your crafty on. And it's fantastic. And then there's obviously the food places that you can go to. And depending on what you want, there's a place called N Square Bakery on the R103.
Yeah.
If you ever thought or dreamt about croissants, they've got every single one that you can think of. And not so many croissants, 3 croissants. 3 croissants.
Small
ones,
scrambling. I'm getting hungry.
Caramel, everything is like anything that you shouldn't eat, they've got. It's fantastic. Yeah.
Awesome, man.
But it's what Umngeni Tourism are going to start doing now is that those are just a few of the places.
Yeah.
But we're going to try and start showing people where they can go and experience it. That's the next phase now, where people can actually see all of these people are highlighted and showing what they've got.
Okay. Sorry for disturb you, man.
So the ideal thing.
Oh, sorry. You can carry on, anything.
So the ideal thing, because I'm a property lady, you think it's good for an investor to build something here?
Absolutely.
Or to buy a land? Do you think it is a very good investment?
It's without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
You know that Umngeni is currently, the property agents have a problem in terms of stock. There's more people wanting houses in Umngeni that they have available to sell. And it's also because of the economic policies that's been put in place locally from a local government perspective, where it's now drawing internal and external investment. Businesses are coming here. Houses are being built, not fast enough. Tourists are coming to visit. So
for us, it's way too fast. I mean, I think we have to discuss that part after discussing the kind of development that's happening, because you've got planned development and unplanned development, which is also hindering tourism.
Oh yeah.
So Karen, sorry about that.
No, so there's massive opportunity. I mean, they just broke ground on a brand new shopping mall that's coming in Howick, right opposite the mall. And there's a big development in Hilton, and there's so many things happening because people see the opportunity. Because the biggest driver of that is local government.
Yeah.
They're making the environment conducive for people to come here. They've got various incentive policies to just say, bring your business here, we'll give you a tax break. We'll make it worth your while to come here. And that just has an effect on the whole circular economy.
I think so.
So in conclusion, you're telling me that it's good for the investors to come and invest here, and it's good for the people to come and buy
Oh yeah,
a
definitely.
house here.
Listen,
It's conducive for everyone.
For everyone, we're down the highway, just 2-3 hours from Joburg and 2-4 hours like either direction.
Cool.
We're in the middle.
Cool.
So if you want
That's all my viewers want to
exactly.
Yeah, that all my viewers want to hear. If this place that called Howick Midlands is it good for them? Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. Now I'm trying to get back to the question. Now, the big question.
The big one.
How is this AI thing going to work, man? Because I was very surprised when you told me, like, okay, I'm going to do a little smart city. And when I picture a smart city, I picture flying cars. I picture automatic tellers. I picture robots. And I'm like, holy crap, where am I going to get a job? but then once again, it's like, okay, I do podcasts. So, I mean, once they make a podcasting robot, then I'm going to rebel. For now, we'll have a bit of a... But yeah, man, apart from that, I won't lie. I use AI with a lot of my work. But then how will it be implemented in a small city like Howick?
I think I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to AI.
Okay.
ChatGPT is like my personal assistant at the moment. And I just recently completed a masterclass at UWN to learn more about this and seeing what the possibilities are. And one thing that came clear throughout this whole process is it's definitely going to change every single industry in this world, irrespective if we like it or not.
Yeah.
It's going to impact from cultural things to even your job. I can record your voice and then I can create a whole podcast without you even knowing.
Exactly.
But and the possibilities of improving the organization, but also the community engagement and how we talk to one another. But the most important thing that came out of it is that what I've tried to position Umngeni Tourism as is how do we do it ethically? because it's easy to say, okay, great, let me use ChatGPT to get rid of paying you to do your job
Yeah.
because it saves me money. But what does that actually have a benefit to our whole society as a whole? So what we've been trying to do, what we've done in Umngeni Tourism, and we actually developed a whole technology roadmap. A bit of a AI nerd coming out there, where we decided what this transformation is going to look like. Because we can stick our heads in the sand and say it's not going to happen. We're in a rural area, township area. It's not going to happen for the big cities. Or we can say, okay, great. This is the tool that we have. How can we leverage that tool to empower the businesses that already are in our communities to do better what they are doing? And then also ultimately have that impact on the entire community as a whole.
Exactly.
Because if you teach someone how to do something and capacitate them more, they provide a better quality tourism product. When there's better quality products, people talk. More tourists come in and say, hey, I went to your business because you've got the best this. Because you as an owner use the tool to capacitate yourself to make your experience a lot better. So that's what Umngeni Tourism has been doing, is we utilizing artificial intelligence not just to do the basics, to really think about, okay, great, how can we develop strategies by using this tool, but by also empowering our communities at the same time. We've spoken about a lot of collaboration and community stakeholder engagement. The goal is to have a smart tourism city, but there's certain steps that you need to get to that. A first basic step is we need to start communicating with one another. Let Mpophomeni what they say get impact and what the ultimate strategy is of the organization. So it's important to start with the basics and the building blocks where we've been left behind for so long on tools about improving communication, how we engage with one another, how you improve your discussions with your own tourists or people for your own business. It doesn't necessarily have to be a tourist or travel agency, but how can you better engage with the person that you're trying to set? And striking that balance to say, okay, great, you've got this tool, but also remember, if you replace one person because you have this tool, that's going to have an impact on not just that person, but their family, the society as a whole. And it just affects all of that. And what we positioned now with our AI strategy and there's also another term, it's Internet of Things, it's IoT.
Yeah.
All the systems, there you go. You can only do AI with that encompassed.
Yeah.
And I think what we've now established is to say, this is what we can achieve, but this is what we need to do from the basics to make sure that people, one, improve their lives as a holistic approach, but also their businesses, and then that ultimately contributes in the whole circular economy. Better products, better tourism establishments. And what we are doing with artificial intelligence, and I mentioned a bit later, is data, is decision making, is harvesting massive amount of data of people saying to us, this is the issues, this is what we need to fix, or this is where you are doing right. We now have the capabilities of harvesting that and coming up with plans to say, okay, great, this is an issue that's been identified in our community. What are the mitigating risks? How can we use artificial intelligence to make those processes a lot easier, a lot quicker, and duplicatable? Because what I'm doing now, I want you to be able to do as well. My point is keeping those information to myself. I need to be able to teach you to say, this is what I've learned out of it. Now you've got the skills to do it, and now improve it in your business that you've got. And that's what Umngeni Tourism is going to do, is utilize basic artificial intelligence and Internet of Things, expand your mind to see what you can do with these tools available.
Okay.
It's our role to show you what that is, and we have now thoroughly planned that out. Thoroughly.
So now, like you know, with the world, right? We all have our conspiracy theories. I had mine with AI, and then I just gave up because you know what? It made my work a bit easy. But there's still a lot of people who are like, this might be the end of my job. This might be the end of our whole career or a whole job line. But I always, like how you just put it now, is a bit more biblical for me. I'm a biblical person. My grandmother is a church person. You've got to give people the fish. I mean, the net instead of the fish. So how do we give people the AI net? And I think that's basically, you just explained a bit of it. And to just try to give people the skills to learn what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
Like Ente right now. How can AI help Ente with her property selling, right? let's make an example. I always like making examples of things, right?
Good.
And you do videos for people to sell, buy and sell their property. One of the biggest problems that we had was subtitles, remember? AI made it so easy. It wrote the subtitles that gave us that if someone does not understand English or whatever the language that was being spoken, or someone doesn't understand, they can actually read at the bottom. Now, so someone is deaf, we've now opened up that space for them now to actually view your videos that they couldn't do before, because they just see and they just see you talking, but they couldn't see what you're doing. So I won't lie, I did use AI to look into your subtitles.
Good.
But that's it. I'm just saying, for me, I'm already part of it. So I've given up. But I know how people can be skeptical, and I know where it comes from, and I get it. I've also had my own interview with AI. I actually sat down and had an interview with it, like I'm having with you.
Yeah, good.
I was like, what is your end goal? Are you gonna take my job? Is this judgment day?
The basic questions, the top five.
That's the top five. Like, yo, dude, are we gonna? And I actually made it make a joke, and it was like, okay, you're actually a bit funny. We can actually work with this. But yeah, man. In a place like Mpophomeni, how would we introduce people to something like that? I mean, how would we, like, in a way that they can relate to it, not just this is AI. Yeah, how do you make someone relate to it? Like Gogo doesn't know how to put airtime. Can we have an AI bot that can actually help me put Gogo's airtime without having to put the airtime all in the time? Something like that. Like, how do you make something relatable to the people that say that is machines that are taking away my job?
Yeah. So I would firstly start off with a bit of a pessimistic note. It's just that there will be jobs that get lost. With every industrial revolution that we've gone through with machines and with technology, certain jobs became irrelevant because it either got replaced by something that can make it faster or quicker.
Yeah.
The same principle applies with artificial intelligence and the fourth industrial revolution. What our goal should be as community members and as industry leaders is say, okay, great, my job is on the line here, but what can I do to make sure that I'm still applicable, I'm still relevant? And I think that's what you can do within areas like Mpophomeni. This is that when we talk about Granny to help her put up her airtime, is capacitate your community members to see the possibilities of innovation and then create that spark with community members like you guys that can come up with their own idea. And an easy idea is you create, like you've been on this chat on WhatsApp, where you sign up a card or something. You just have a little interaction with it.
Yeah.
Google can message a number and say, listen, this is my issue. I can't blow this thing. And AI is so advanced that you can learn from the conversation as you go along. So if you're going to ask me a question, I'm going to anticipate the next one. And so you can start having that conversation with people, giving them the tool to deal with an issue. But you have to make sure that people see the possibilities first.
And I'm thinking, apart from airtime is one thing. Gogo always forgets to take her pills.
There you go.
Can there be something to remind her to take her pills? Because as much as I'm not really into pills, I'm a more herbal person, but she's old and she needs to have her medication. I can't be like, Gogo, get off this and get this.
Oh, yeah.
No. You need to ease them into the herbal sort of stuff, but also keep getting them to get their pills.
Absolutely.
She always forgets, and that's the problem. If you forget, it doesn't really help because
Exactly.
it's all messed up. So how do you get a system that can actually help Gogo? The first is so small thing, because as I said, township was not really made with the plan for development when they made it. So when you come with something as AI, it's kind of something that you can, that is practical for me, you, like the next person.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you come with an AI and say, this is going to be like, okay, fine, fair enough, I have the township, the Mpophomeni shopping center is the one biggest complex that we have. And then everything else is, what can you integrate AI into within there? Not that many businesses, right? But in the home, in the family structure, that's what we all have. We all have family. How can we use that to fix the family structure? It's a bit of a hard one because it's AI, but
it's good. It depends on what your needs are, like you were explaining. Let's use the family structure one first. This is that AI can provide you with a tool to deal with issues. We remarked earlier, like top five questions.
Yeah.
But you can actually ask it questions to help you deal with certain issues. Because you have to remember that what AI is a collection of all human knowledge and data that we've collated over the expansion of when we started writing and record things up until a certain point. So to a certain extent, what you're asking for is like if you're struggling with how to help your grandmother take her pills, you can ask her that question. What are some ideas that you can teach me to tell me about Google? And then it can give you generic answers. But then this is where it comes in easily, is that you can tell it about your grandmother. Say she doesn't like walking, she doesn't like drinking pills, she doesn't like drinking water, she wants juice when she drinks the water. This is the times that she does it. And that's what makes searching on the internet different. When you go and put all of those kind of things, you're not going to get a right answer.
Yeah.
What AI does is that you put in all of those things and it tells you a certain situation falls suited for your grandmother. So you can say, okay, great, Granny doesn't like to do this and this and this. She's full of nonsense, but we can sort her out because I've asked the questions. Now I'm going to give her cake with the pill because, and you work it out. It's about, and I want to reiterate, AI is just a tool. Ultimately, how powerful that tool is going to be is going to depend on the user. You sitting behind it. I don't like reading. I don't like writing. It's not one of my fun times to do. But by using AI so much, my vocabulary has increased. My sentence structures, things like
you've actually improved because it does it for you. So you're like, oh wait, I was actually missing that.
Exactly. And if you take that approach about always learning, it's not just about you'll have three sets of people. People that use AI just for the basic things, okay, cool, we'll improve tasks and those kind of things. People that be like, ugh, it's AI, I don't know what it is, I'm not going to care about it. Because you'll have those people. And then people that use it as a tool to learn, because that's what it is. As it learns your language, you're learning its language too. And a good example and how this can help you with your video thing. When you write scripts, or you write an advert or any kind of thing, is that if you put it in ChatGPT, it gives you a generic answer or those kind of things. But there's an opportunity for you now to take all the things that you've ever written, all the reports, articles, newsletters, love letters, all kinds of things, and assesses it, and it gives you a writing style.
Yeah.
This is your writing style. So if I tell you to go and write me an article as this writing style, it will write it in your own words. So I've done that for myself because I've gotten tuned a few times that it looks too much generic. And I've used the tool while learning. Now it speaks my own language. Exactly. It speaks my own tone, my own voice.
Yeah, you basically teach it how to write. Because I'm a writer. I write books. So what I did was just put 2 chapters into it. It knows how I write. It's like, okay, now you know how I write books. You know how I write articles. But one thing I did notice, spontaneousness. It lacks a bit of that because as a creative, it's like there's that one thing that you get out of nowhere. Yeah. And AI gets what from what you teach it. Right? So spontaneousness is still, yes, it might look threatening, but there's that one spark. I don't know where it comes from, but whenever you get an idea, it just comes out of nowhere. Yeah. AI can't do that. Yeah. You get an idea out of nowhere, then boom, where did that come out of? Yeah. AI can't do that. It only gets from when you actually put it. Yes, it's a tool. Everything it's a tool.
It's absolutely a tool. And I think that just to maybe bring it back to the first point is that what can we do to communicate with those communities? It's doing this. It's like I'm having a conversation with you on knowledge on AI that I have that you don't. And it sparked 2 ideas while we're sitting there. Got great 2 things that you can help grandma do.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to do. So these things are so big and so complex. But what we need to strive for as community members and as businesses and as people that have space in society is to go break it down for people and give you the opportunity to come up with your own creativity. So this is your possibility. Now think about how to use it. I'll teach you everything that you need to know once you figure out your idea. Yeah. But our goal is not to be a crutch for people. And also AI is not supposed to be that. It's supposed to be a tool for you to create creativity, challenge your mind, and innovate. Yeah. And think about things differently. And I think it's going to be a tough run because there's nothing guiding us. There's no legislation or law or society or guidelines on how these things work. So we're figuring it out as we go. And I would much rather be an organization that says, okay, this is a challenge. How am I going to fix it? This is going to be a problem. I know it's going to threaten your job. I know it's going to threaten the graphic designer that does all Umngeni tours and stuff. So instead of saying, okay, great, sticking my head in the sand, how can I fix that? And then through that, figuring out the process, teach other people to do the same. Us as a CTO and other CTOs in the province, and then ultimately driving policies and strategy that firms up the community work that we've done. So you need to have a holistic kind of view. I've been doing this and I've been thinking about this a while. But I think that's the ultimate thing is just show people the potential and expand their own minds through showing them that. And then figuring out how you can support those ideas and those creativity that comes through. And that's all about connectivity. As a road connects Mpophomeni to Howick or Hilton for people to go to work or see their family or go to church, so does these mechanisms through AI that we are creating also create connectivity. And that's what we're lacking. This is that people don't feel like they're heard. If they have ideas, where do they share those ideas? And if they do share those ideas, does it go into the ether and it never something happens to it?
Yeah.
So it's exactly to use these tools. You can do big things, but you can also do basic things that can change society by creating.
So is this AI thing implemented already?
Oh yeah.
No, we just told you we use it.
Like in how?
Oh, now we know it's about to be, right?
So there is businesses that are using it, but I have in partnership with Umngeni Tourism, we have set up a technology roadmap, because you kind of need to figure out where your baseline is first. Because you need to know what the businesses feel comfortable with, what they don't feel, and based on that information, we can say, okay, this is our starting point. What is the first things that AI can do to help us improve what we overall need to do, the economic aspects and the social aspect, all those fancy things. First thing is communication. We need to create those networks, connectivity. That we can do. Then the next thing is, okay, cool, flying cars. Slow progression. Okay, maybe not the next step. Maybe not the next step. Maybe the 10th or 11th.
Looking at TikTok right now, we're still a mile away from the flying car, but it's okay.
Hey, we can design the first flight. You know, the first flight actually in the world wasn't the White Brothers. It took place in the Cockley. If you go to the museum there at Howick Falls, there's a whole history there about the first flight.
Did you all hear that? Huh? The first flight right here in Howick.
In Cockley.
So guys, don't mess with us. The Midlands is legendary.
I mean, if we can fly, we can be the first flight. We can do anything.
We can do anything.
Like cars.
Exactly.
Umngeni was the first to beat the ANC. I know they're gonna beat me up for that, but that's fine. Anyway, so guys, I have a few sponsors for the show, so I still have to do the ads, guys. One of them actually is they call it the Great Mpophomeni Hike. You know that it's Women's Month next month. So this is for you. This is for you.
Mpophomeni.
Yes, if you like hiking. Yes, they're doing the Great Mpophomeni Hike next month in. Let me get the information there for you. But it's one of my friends, actually, one of our friends. Her name is Zime Makaya. Thank you to her. She's one of our sponsors today. She was part of a youth organization called Umngeni, and she won an award, right? What was the award part
for best leadership?
Best leadership. So she's and you know what? I have to admit, I have been not so friendly to ladies on the podcast, because we've been, you know how we get to the debate of relationships and whatever. And I've been very unfriendly to ladies, and then they were like, we are gonna sponsor you to show you that you are wrong. So yes, ladies, I'm wrong. I know. Thank you, lady. Mpophomeni has shown me. So yeah, basically the hike that the female is doing is going to be. Let me just check out the post. There it is. So what they have is at the Umngeni Valley Nature Reserve, right here in Umngeni. On the 9th of August 2023 on National Women's Day from 7:30, and it's a 250 rand thing with per person. I think it's per person, right? Yes, and you get snacks and oh no, you bring snacks, but then they have a lunch at the end of the hike. So this is not just for you to just walk. No, they have a nice lunch, and it's in Bogota, so it's for you guys to get together. We discuss women's stuff, how to beat us at everything.
Yes.
It's beautiful.
You get a t-shirt, you get breakfast, you get a prize, soft drinks. And yeah, so the trail is the Inkonka Trail, and it's 5 kilometers circular. Yeah. And you can just get them on WhatsApp on 062-592-6371. So yes, and if you're looking to take a holiday,
I'll be there.
Yeah. And then our second sponsor, another lady. She owns her own business. She is a lady. I'm gonna get this wrong, I know, but I'm gonna edit it out. I'm the editor. But her name is Dr. Kumalo. And Dr. Kumalo, not a soccer player, but she is Dr. D. Kumalo. She's in Mpophomeni at the Mpophomeni Shopping Center. they offer different range of services. You know, they've got your trips, your weight loss programs. They've got your
She runs anesthetic clinic.
yeah, everything there. And then she gets the pediatric care for the kids, right? And then they accept all medical aid as well. So if you have a medical aid, the Kumalo is right there. You can score yourself a nice medical.
Shout out to the
Yeah.
Kumalo.
So thank you to her as well for sponsoring the show. And yeah, guys, check her out at the Mpophomeni shopping center if you're feeling, the flu coming through. She's got you. JP, one more question, man. And I can let you go. You can enjoy your Sunday. So, if you had a magic door
Yes.
that could lead you to anywhere in the Midlands, where would it lead to?
We're in the Midlands.
Yeah, because right now it's talking. You are Umngeni twin, so you gotta have one place where you'd be like, I would go.
Where you can hide. Do you know what? It's some of the most scenic places in this place, most tranquil is in the Dargle.
Oh yeah.
There's these Beverly cottages, and also Copley cottages. It's right by the mountains. There's no one there in sight. There's no signal, which is great because I hate my phone.
It would be
And
lovely for a weekend.
Just
away
for a
with your
weekend. Yeah, just a weekend. I can only be in isolation for so long. But it's a good place because there's when the snow is on the mountains in the background, there's cracking fires. When you're there with your friends, it's an ideal place to go to. And quite ironically, also Beverly Cottages is the property that is run by the chairperson of the Midlands Meander.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Kate runs an amazing establishment there. So if you ever want to go to a nice place to get away, even take some friends if you want to have a bit of a rowdy one, there's some places to go to there.
Manje sasa Zulu na JP.
Nope.
Awusazi?
Nope.
Hayi mele ufunde
Northern me.
Hayi man. Hayi mele
It's on my to-do list, okay? I was doing this first.
Mele ufunde man. Mele ufunde. You're in the heart of the Zulu land. You're in the heart of the Zulu land. Okay?
Listen, I've only thing I know is I've known when people skin it of me. That's the only thing. I picked up a few words. I can't say them, but I know them. You know when you stand in the lift,
Yeah.
I've learned. It's great because it's always good things.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's what I'm telling myself because I don't know what they say.
Man, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And do you have any questions for today? Any last question? Or you done? You good?
When are you inviting me to come and tour your place?
Yes,
The
all of
houses?
them.
I
All
need
of them.
to tour.
Yeah, he needs to follow.
And I do tours, I do commercial, I do whatever that you say your places are, I do those tours. I do industrial tour, I do residential tours.
Amazing.
So when I invite
Shout out your
you,
number. Maybe when
We-
people watch, so they can actually see.
yes, 0769144017.
There you go.
Get me there.
We are actually going to organize a massive conference for all of our tour guides and people to come together. Tell us what your needs are so that we can actually come up with a proposal that works for you. So we don't do it the other way around. I tell you what you need, but I need the guys that's actually doing the work to come tell me. So hopefully within the next 3 months, we've got a tight time frame that I've set for the organization to do certain things. And that's one of the priority areas. Is that we need to bring you guys on board. Because we've got all of these things, but you guys are the ones that are biggest word of mouth and taking it out there. So it's on the to-do list, and it's something a very big priority for us to make sure that you guys are on board.
Okay.
Awesome, man.
Just one
Right.
question
Any
from me.
questions?
Yeah, just one question from me, JP. In relation to food safety in terms of township tourism, what would your advice be? Because I haven't seen much any things that are related to food trainings and stuff like that happening around. But hopefully, with you guys popping up, what do you have in your bag?
Yeah, I think that food training is absolutely vital. I think that if the biggest problem that we have is that to get your foods to a certain standard, there's so much that you have to do, and it gets so laborious. So what we need to do is, and this is where AI comes in as well, is give people a tool to say, okay, great, how can I make sure that food standards for yourself as your business improves, but also gives you a mechanism to say, okay, great, this is where I'm wasting, this is what I'm doing this, so that your business can actually grow. So by using a platform like that, and then also bringing various sectors together, government sector, because they've got these training development programs, but also private sector that's been doing this for a long time, as bringing them together to share that knowledge with communities like Mpophomeni, but also letting community members take ownership. And I think that's one of the things that that I've been struggling with personally a long time, is bringing community Mpophomeni along this journey with me. And I think that it is community members that need to start taking more ownership of their space.
The GoPro is off, but it's fine.
But for us to be able to do that, we need to give people an opportunity to know what to do. So that's what I think we have a big role to play at the moment, is creating those tools for people to improve the quality of their products, but not just the quality, but also give them the knowledge and the skills to improve their business by doing that. And then ultimately the rest of the stuff that we go from there.
This is Pa. Pa runs his own little tours.
There you go, Pa.
As well.
Yeah, man, up.
Yeah.
I know. Pa.
So yeah, man, thank you very much, JP.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you for meeting us.
It's a
And
pleasure.
the information, I hope people have learned and are ready for the development that is coming. Pa, you've heard yourself, man.
Yeah, man, I've been here.
Definitely.
Good.
So, well, do you have any closing words, anything to say goodbye to people for?
I just lastly is that the impact that we really can make, challenge yourself to think about something bigger. We started with a novel idea of Umngeni tourism just being a nice little brand. Now we are in a place where we can actually affect real change. It's because we started with something and we redeveloped that and we didn't give up. So that's the last thing. It's just like, if you have an idea, you believe in it, work at it. It's not going to work if you don't put the effort into it. And put the slog and the hard work and the learning, and be agile with what you do, and just be humble. Know what you can't, what you can do.
Okay. So, thank you guys for joining us, and you guys are the superstars, man.
All right.
Thank you guys
You
for
are-
joining us. Mwah. Let's
stuff.
talk property.
Hey, listen, I have to edit your part, because I'm going to edit your part for your channel.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you very much,
It's a
JP.
pleasure.
Should I pause?
But
Pause, we'll take